So this video has taken so much longer to make than I initially planned for. Let me explain what happened. What is up, guys? My name is Ben Hartwell. Thanks for checking out the channel. If it's your first time here, or even if it's not, why not consider smashing that subscribe button? It really does help out the channel. So if you've been watching my channel for a little while, you will have seen this guitar. This is my 2007 Fender Highway 1 Strat, and you might have seen a video that I did probably over a year ago now where I changed out the tuners and the springs for something a bit more substantial to try and help with the tuning stability of this guitar. And whilst those modifications did make the guitar stay in tune, they also made it really stiff feeling to play. So I figured, why not make a few more what I thought would be simple modifications to make this guitar an awesome playing Strat. Little did I know, things are never that simple. But let's dive into it. So the modifications that I decided I was going to make are to change the entire wiring loom and all the pots in this guitar. One, because the pots were sounding pretty scratchy and I didn't really like the feel of them. And two, because I'd read up that the wiring wasn't of the best quality. So the first thing I wanted to get hold of was a full wiring kit, and I went for this one from ToneShaper, which I found on Amazon. Links to everything will be in the description below if you want to pick up these parts. And it's the modern Stratocaster wiring loom that I went for. It comes with super high quality 250 CTS pots, a much higher quality 5-way than what was in the guitar already, and pushback cloth wiring. This kit also came with a treble bleed, which I'll also be installing. Along with the pots, the wiring and the treble bleed, I'm also going to change out the jack, as I don't really know what it is that's in there, and it also means that I can change all the wiring that goes to that as well. So once I'd got all the parts together for the mods that I wanted to make, I set about getting the guitar ready to make the modifications. So I took the old strings off, and removed the scratch plate so I could get out all the interior wiring. So the first job that I needed to do was to get the scratch plate free from all the wiring that was holding it in place. That's the ground wire and the wires that connect into the input jack. And to just make things a bit quicker and easier, I decided I would just cut a few of these wires just to free up the scratch plate so I could start working. Once the scratch plate was free, this is what I was left with. Now, if you've not seen inside a Strat before, this is what it looks like. Might look a bit complicated, but it's really not that bad. These are obviously the back of the pickups, then you've got the 5-way switch here, these are the tone pots, and this is the volume control. So job number one was to change that switch out. To do that, I need to desolder all the cables holding it in place. So any cables that were easy enough to desolder, I did. But this chunk of big black cables that are grounding the pickups to this pot, I just decided to cut, as it was far easier than trying to heat up all that old solder and pull them off one by one. Once that was done, it's a simple case of removing the 2 screws, putting the new switch in place. So I got all the pots free from all the cabling. Once the new ones were in, it was really just a case of following the awesome wiring diagram supplied by ToneShaper. First thing I needed to do was install that treble bleed. Really easy to do, as part of it was already pre-wired, so it's just a case of slotting it in, soldering it in place. And then I could set about following the individual wires as laid out in the wiring diagram. Nothing too complicated, it's just a case of doing each one wire by wire, nice and slow, making sure that you're making nice clean connections as it shows in the wiring diagram. with a bit of patience, it was done. The other thing that I decided I was going to change is the saddles. I didn't really want to change out the whole bridge, the whole tremolo system, the block and everything at this stage, although I ended up having to do that anyway. But I thought a good upgrade to do would be just change out the saddles. And after a bit of reading, I found out about these bad boys. These are raw vintage steel saddles, and they're supposed to give a real nice upgrade to your tone. So I got myself a set from Peach Guitars, again, links in the description, and thought that they would just be a simple swap over part. Now I did know that there are numerous different bridges and numerous different saddle sizes that go on Strats, so I measured the saddles that were already on the guitar, and I thought that I was buying the same size that was already on the guitar. Turns out, I didn't. So I think the size of the saddle that was on my Highway one was 10.5 millimeters, and the smallest size of saddle that Raw Vintage make is 10.8. Now I wouldn't really think that such a small difference would really mean anything, but it meant that when I tried to put those saddles on, because of the extra width in each of those saddles, that it ended up splaying out instead of being completely straight and perpendicular to the bridge. So that meant getting a new bridge. Not a problem, I had intended to upgrade the bridge at some point anyway, as the arm didn't really fit very well in this bridge and there was quite a bit of wiggle in it before anything actually happened. So I set about finding another bridge. I ended up going with this relatively cheap bridge from Wilkinson, as it has a full steel block. But then this started a whole new problem. Check this out. Okay, so hopefully on the overhead shot, you can see here the new bridge that I've put in. And you can see here the holes where the E and B string come through the body, through the bridge. And you can see how they're at different positions to change the length of the string to help with the tuning stability. Sounds great, but here's one of the new saddles. Here's the screw for the saddle. If I place that through the bridge, you can see now that that screw completely covers the hole that the string's supposed to come through. So the only way I could think to get around that problem is to cut the screws down to size. So after all those problems and setbacks, the upgrades are finally done. I'm not sure that it's really changed the tone too much, but the sustain and the feel of the guitar I think is much improved. So here's some back-to-back audio samples of how the guitar sounded before the mods and how it sounds now. See what you think. So what do you reckon? Like I say, I don't think it really sounds too much different. I like the sound of the guitar as it was anyway, but the feel, the response, and the sustain that the guitar has now, I think is greatly improved. So there you go guys, it's taken a long time making this video, but I do hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section down below what some of the mods are that you guys are making to your guitars, and maybe what you think some of the future mods should be that I do to this Strat. But for now, I'm really liking it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up below. If you want to watch another video on my channel, you can do that just up here. And don't forget to subscribe. You can do it right there. See you in the next one.